Welcome to BitPlayer1's weekly market analysis. As always, we'll start with the S&P 500. Not much happened this week. It was this, so it was pretty boring. Kind of slow climb up. Like I said last week, these to me are the most important. These three lower highs. Technically, we held this low. They made a higher low, so we got a head and shoulders type thing looking. But if we fail to break this high and we end up breaking this low, that will reaffirm a downtrend. On a weekly chart, I would say the downtrend pivot would actually be this area. Daily downtrend already confirmed slightly because we are making lower highs right here and lower lows there, but we haven't broke the second one to make our third leg of the downtrend, so really it's kind of just choppy. Here we are on the NASDAQ. Looks like we had our double top. We're much further below a lot of important zones. This one looks worse, but I would say this is probably the most crucial area. Unless we break this low here, we're really just chopping. Even though technically we do have a bit of a downtrend, it probably shows better in a 4 hour. Yeah, so high, low, I guess that's the low. So we got high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, chopping around while we wait for it to either make another lower high from here somewhere, or we break below and make a lower low. And that'll give us our direction on this zone. Do we break below this and confirm a weekly downtrend? I would say weekly chart. Yeah, do we confirm a weekly downtrend by breaking this low? So more just wait and see. The week was not very exciting. It didn't really go anywhere yesterday or last week. Alright, Dow Jones, and this one's easy because nothing's wrong with it. Totally fine, uptrend, higher lows, higher highs. We're in our trend line, and that's it. I assume if the S&P and the NASDAQ do confirm a downtrend, this will start to roll over as well, but maybe this is the clue that the other ones break to the uptrend. Now we got the Russell 2000, and I've been seeing people write that there's a rotation out of tech into small caps, which kind of makes sense. NASDAQ looks the worst. It did look the best, but we got a high, lower high. There's a low, and then chopping. So we'll see. I guess maybe this was where the rotation is happening, and maybe it's happened already. It was a quick-lived one, or this is getting up to break into this trend line here and start to try to hit for another all-time high. We'll see. It's annoying sometimes when you have multiple weeks where you just don't know, but that's the market. You gotta just wait for it to tell you what's going on by looking at the charts, and I'll help you. Not financial advice. Alright, now we got the dollar here, the super important, ultra important mega chart. It typically moves really slow and nothing's really happening here either. Took a whole week to have a slight recovery, but we haven't done anything meaningful here. Yeah. But this is the most important chart, I would say, because we have this long-term trend line. We're actively testing it. Looks like it's holding for now. And this also affects everything else. Literally. And we have Bitcoin here. This is the same as the other charts regarding the week. Nothing really happened. basically just stalling out. After you have a big move like this, that does happen. Volatility contracts because you had such a burst of movement. It typically will just chill in the little zone for a bit before it decides on its next move. This one is basically already been wrecked. The zone of note here is this, which we've already kind of tested a bit. Let's make, I'm going to delete that Fibonacci, create a new one, because this one I'm the most interested in is from here to the top. So yeah, keep an eye on these areas. We are in the 786 to 886 range. So this is considered value areas with perspective of that leg where I drew the fib. So yeah, Bitcoin, wait and see, wait and see. Alright, we have gold here. Looks like things are kind of moving. We are now out of the zone. So maybe that was the trap I saw about, was it was a bear trap basically. This huge crash was to get people to think that it was going to just go down forever, and then we end up slowly grinding up to an all-time high as the people that shorted it bleed out money. Maybe that's the case there. I'm going to remove that trend line there just because it's not really relevant anymore. The big thing is that we have officially gotten above this zone. And you can see we did a little retest on it. This is great. This looks good. This is what a potential recovery looks like. What I would do is I would take a Fibonacci from there to there and see. So here's the golden ratio, 618. Watch out at the 707, 786 areas for lower high potential. So here would be all-time high if we stop out somewhere here. But there's a lot of play zone in here. Like a long, potentially, if we hold this, could be decent. Maybe wait and see what happens here is what I'll do, because this is not financial advice. And I might run a couple of shorts, short-lived, and I'll keep track of this trend line because it'll most likely come into play somewhere in these zones. So wrap up here basically is huge volatility, tightening up, heading back towards the top since we've crossed this zone that was holding. The Fibonacci areas are definitely worth watching. And like I showed you, I'll do it again. You take your Fibonacci tool, you grab from top to bottom, and that will give you the numbers increasing in value. So you can see we're at the 618 here. And let's go. Silver. So this one looks like it's gonna follow gold, just as it does. On here we do have something a little more notable. If this was a high, this was a high, this was a low, this was a low, then that would have been the next high, and that's the next low. We've broken that high, so maybe we are flipping again from a down to an up trend, so we'll have to see. It actually looks a little more clear on silver because we have this U-shaped. It's actually a cup and handle pattern basically, so we'll see. I don't really dig too much into the patterns. I really like just following trends, higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, depending on up or down. But yeah, maybe these lows lows and these highs are going to start to change direction to that way. This line is definitely going to be worth watching, right? Because it was our guideline on the way up, and now that we've crashed through it and retested it, the odds are high that something will probably happen if we get back to it. But yeah, that would be great if this actually does recover and a lot of people can kind of get their money back. I keep hearing stories of people that put way too much money into silver at the top here because their friends told them to. Watch the charts. To me, it was pretty easy to see that it was going from a healthy to an unhealthy trend, and that's where you get trapped like that. So another tangent is there are a lot of people who got in up here with way too much money. So the psychology behind that is as we get up, they're going to be itching to sell for a small loss or break even. So there will be a lot of pressure from retail at least when we get to these areas here. Remember the psychology. But yeah, time will tell. This looks actually like a bit of a recovery. We'll see. Now we've got a good old-fashioned oil. I'm going to leave this line just because you never know. This major uptrend line, or upper trend line, which is in a downtrend, the resistance line we call it, we're in there. We're in there like swimwear. We're at the midline. This would be really exciting if we get all the way through it, because it would be very notable of something we haven't done since 2023 get out of this line. Also, a lot of the zones I have drawn in lines here, I believe these are weeklies. I'll just label them so they're a little easier to see. We're basically above most of them. And once we get this past this weekly line and out of this kind of channel trend, we have pretty clear zones here, at least to the monthly line. And then after that, we got a big zone, clear zone. So that'd be cool. We'll see. I'm really watching this like a hawk because I personally will probably go in pretty heavy with future contracts. Stay tuned. I'll have a video at some point soon explaining what those do, how they work, etc. Last but not least, we have natural gas, and I've been calling this the Jesus line, joking with friends. It's been holding since 2024. Lots of touches, big reactions every time we get in there. It's getting a little sketchy. Basically, like the whole week last week was floating around in here. It'd be nice for us to get recovery out of it. Similar to what happened here, where we were at the bottom and we opened above it. That was cool. I don't know if that's how it'll happen again, but there are some gaps, and gaps are frequently filled because they're really easy to spot out. And maybe that's what we were doing with this one here. We had to come back and fill that one before we went too far up. Who knows? The actual thing we need to know is watch this trend line. This trend line is pretty powerful, and it's been holding for multiple years. We'll see. Just keep an eye out on that.